listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
You guys updated on coronavirus, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm Scott.
Good morning.
Morning and welcome to America's Web Radio. We're glad to have you tuned in today, and this is our second show, and it's on sports management, and I think it's fantastic. And $1 Million Ball, I believe that's what.
He's very famous among the Venezuelans and the Latinos. Mm-hmm. His name is Mr. Robert Alonso.
Mr. Robert Alonso.
I consider him an expert in the issues that we're going to be talking today. Mm-hmm. And let's see if we can listen to him. So how's been your day going?
Very good. Very, very good. And I think we have right now Mr. Alonso online. Robert, are you there? Robert? Hello? I don't have feedback.
Okay. So we're going to be talking today about what?
Well,
hello, I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear him.
Robert?
Carlos Alfredo, I can't hear you.
Okay. Well, Robert,
you have to speak louder or something.
I have to speak louder.
Turn your telephone up.
Yeah.
Okay, Robert. We need to know a little bit who is Robert Alonso, please. That's the first question.
Who is Robert Alonso?
Who is Robert Alonso?
Ha! You're asking me.
Yes.
You're asking me. Well, I was born in Cuba, and I went to Venezuela as an exile at the age of 11 with my parents. And in 1972, I was studying in West Germany, and from that moment on, I joined what they call the War Around the World. And that's about 47 years ago.
Okay.
And since then, I have been in many places: Vietnam, Afghanistan, Angola, Grenada, Chile, Colombia, Nicaragua, and of course Venezuela. In 1985, I wrote a book, published a book, about the explosion of the Cuban airplane. There was in that event, they were supposed to kill 72 persons, and I investigated. It took me about 4 years of investigation. And I discovered that it was not 72 or 74 people who died in that plane. There were 7 other victims, and we discovered, like I say, 4 years. It took me 4 years to discover that. We discovered that those 7 people that Castro didn't report, they were Castro's generals who were fighting in Angola, and they were sending them back to Cuba with a lot of military power and political power too. So I wrote a book which I titled the Castro's General. And there, after 4 years of investigation, we discovered that the bomb was not placed in the bathroom of the airplane like Castro said. Castro said that they placed a C4 bomb in one of the bathrooms of the airplane. And we discovered because Eric Newton, who was a technician who discovered, who the British government sent to Barbados to investigate the explosion of the Cuban airplane, he discovered that the bomb was dynamite, and it was placed in the bottom of the airplane. And that was a revolutionary investigation, because due to that detail, the 4 people who were accused of blowing the Cuban airplane were discovered that they were innocent, and that sentence was to be confirmed by the higher court, by the higher military court. Anyway, many years after that, one of the people involved in the explosion, supposedly involved in the explosion, whose name was Luis Posada Carriles, he was trial here in the United States, in Texas State, and they used my book to let him free, because we proved, or I proved, that the explosion was not in the bottom of the airplane, but it was placed in the luggage compartment of the plane.
Wow.
And nobody had access to that compartment but the Cuban government. And after more investigation, we came to the conclusion that Castro was the one who blew the Cuban airplane to get rid of the general who were coming back from Africa, from the Angolan War.
Wow.
And that was a main event of the operation. So ever since then, the book was published in 1885. After that, I started to write in the internet and warn the Venezuelan people about the danger of Venezuela becoming a communist regime, because the way that Castro was handling that event, that he accused the Venezuelan president and the military as a whole, and the judges and everything. He said that he was going to take measures against the Venezuelan government. And in 1960, Castro started a guerrilla war in Venezuela. That guerrilla war was defeated not only by the Venezuelan army, the air forces, the armed forces, but they were defeated among themselves because of political divisions of the Communist Party. And thanks to a group of anti-Castro Cuban who were in the Venezuelan political police, and they discovered many movements among the guerrilla. Among them was the invasion of Machu Picchu, sent by Castro to Venezuela.
That happens in what year?
The guerrilla was defeated. However, a new guerrilla many years ago started, urban guerrilla, started in Venezuela, and that guerrilla was too defeated by Luis Posada Carriles, who was a Venezuelan Cuban who used to command the Venezuelan political police. It was called then DGPOL. Then they changed the name to DICIP, and now they call them SEBIN. So in 1985, I started to write about the danger of Venezuela becoming a communist country. Nobody believed me. Nobody believed me. And the years went by, and Chavez intended a coup against Carlos Andrés Pérez, and that coup was defeated, and Chavez was sent to prison. But before they sentenced him, President Caldera pardoned him and took him to the political arena. Of course, everybody who surrounded Chavez at that time were old-time communists. So nobody knew who Chavez was. But since he was backed up by the old communists in Venezuela, most of which were leader of the 1960, 1970 guerrilla warfare, I was sure that if Chavez was placed in the government by Castro, Venezuela was in great danger. Nobody believed me. And even though only 30% of the Venezuelan voters voted in that election, Chavez won the election and became the president of Venezuela. And by the way, the first article published by the Miami New Herald warning the Venezuelan people about the danger of Venezuela becoming a communist regime, it was me. And I am proud of that, because I was the first person who publicly, in the media of the United States, warned the Venezuelan people about it. But they didn't believe me, because the Venezuelan political situation at that time was a mess. Mm-hmm. The three main parties at that time, they were all corrupted. The economy of Venezuela was going down the drain, and the people of Venezuela wanted a change, and that's why Chavez mainly was able to become president of Venezuela. So from that moment on, I didn't quit writing and publishing my warnings about it. I have more than 7,000 articles written and published in the internet. If you go to Google and you write Robert Alonso, Alonso, you will find thousands of articles published there. Then, in 2004, I sold the idea of a strategy called La Guarimba. La Guarimba is a strategy that will take the people out on the street, build barricades. Once they build a barricade, they go back to their home, and that way we can paralyze the whole country. And we did that in 2004. That took me, of course, the false opposition of Venezuela, because one of the first things that Castro advised Chavez to do in Venezuela is to build their own opposition. What they call here in the United States, rhinos. So on one hand, we have the regime, the Castro communist regime, which was led by Hugo Chavez. And on the other hand, we had an opposition that was composed by rhinos. Everybody there were rhinos.
Just a moment.
So
Robert,
I started
I have,
denouncing
David,
them and warning the Venezuelan people
Robert,
that those
¿me escuchas?
opposition leaders were fake.
Robert, ¿me escuchas?
¿Eh?
Robert, ¿me escuchas?
Te escucho.
Okay, David wants to ask you a question.
David Moxley, the director of America's Web Radio, wants to ask you a question.
I can't hear you very well. I can't hear you.
He cannot hear you.
You have to talk louder.
Okay, David Moxley, the director of America's Web Radio, wants to ask you a question.
About the two. Yes, sir. We've been getting notified in the local media about the two Americans that have been captured. Do you know anything about that? And they're calling it, Venezuela is saying it's a coup attempt. But do you know anything about that and what's going on today in Venezuela with the two Americans?
Well, I know very much about it, as much as anybody can know, because we do not have all the details, and there's a lot of questioning about it and all that. Now, these two American soldiers of fortune, they were caught in Venezuela because there was a contract that was signed by what they call the Venezuelan legal president, Juan Guaido. And they had a plan to capture Nicolas Maduro in order to claim the $15 million for his head. Now, these two Americans, they went into the Venezuelan territory and they were caught. I heard yesterday Mike Pompeo saying that the American government will do everything they have in their power to free these two Americans, which I really doubt that they will do, because these were soldiers of fortune. They knew what they're doing, and they went into Venezuela with a military purpose. Now, the question here is who were the leaders of that coup attempt. The main leader of that coup attempt is General Alcalá Cordones, Cleaver Alcalá Cordones, who is now in the custody of the American justice, accused of sending to the United States since 2011 250 tons of cocaine a year, and he's trying now, waiting for a trial. He is supposedly, and that's what they all say, he was the leader of the coup attempt. The other leaders of the coup attempt are people who were very close to Diosdado Cabello, who were very close to El Pollo Carvajal, which is a general accused of being a narco distributor, and nobody knows where he is right now. And there's many doubts about what was going on and what they were intended to do. Now, there's a Canadian American that he said that he owns a mercenary company, now they call it contract company, who is saying a lot of things, who is claiming that he was asking for $1.5 million for the operation.
Okay.
They didn't consent.
We'll be back in a minute. We have a commercial break. Just a moment, please.
All right.
If your health insurance premium is more than your mortgage, Ellen Deal with Ideal Solutions is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner, individual, family, or baby boomer, email MAGA45CAG@gmail.com and I'll respond with 3 easy questions to help you determine if you can get away from Obamacare. As a 20-year veteran of the insurance industry, I'm here to help with all your insurance needs. Email Ellen Deal at MAGA45CAG@gmail.com.
Get your pen and paper ready.
if there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Let's talk Venezuela. We have Robert Alonso in línea, and Robert, we're gonna be taking every 15 minutes a break, okay? So, you listening to me?
Estoy escuchando. I'm listening.
Okay, good.
Now, how many minutes are we going to take?
Every 15 minutes we take we just took our first break, so the next one is gonna be in 13 minutes.
All right.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so now there is a contract that is signed by 1, 2, 3, 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
The first signature is supposedly belongs to the President Guaido.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is by Sergio Vergara, who represents Guaido.
Okay.
The other one is the signature of J.J. Rendon, who represents Guaido.
Uh-huh.
And the other one, as a witness,
Mm-hmm.
is a lawyer from Washington, a Cuban lawyer from Washington, D.C., called Manuel Retureta.
Okay.
That's
a lawyer
not a Cuban American lawyer
in Washington, D.C., and he is specialized in defending narcos.
Oh my!
Defending narcos. Now, at the beginning, 2-3 days ago, they say that contract did not exist. But last night in CNN, J.J. Rendon, he said that yes, that contract exists, and that was his signature, and was the signature of Sergio Vergara. Sergio Vergara hasn't said anything yet, but they left outside of that conversation the name of Manuel Retureta, who is very important because he was the witness of the signature of that contract. And that contract was supposedly signed by President Guaido. But JJ last night said that President Guaido didn't sign that contract. So right now I'm sending a lot of communication to a lot of news persons that they have to contact Manuel Retureta.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the phone number. I have the phone number of that person. So they can call him. They can call him and find out if he, as a witness, can say that who signed that contract, and if it is true that President Guaido signed it. Now, the phone number of this person is 202-450-6119.
Could you repeat that again?
Anybody can call him.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yes, 202-450
Okay.
6119. Now,
that's Manuel Retureta's phone number?
Yeah.
Huh?
That's
Yes.
Manuel Retureta's phone number?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Now, anybody can call him and say, Mr. Retureta, you as the witness of that contract, Now we know that the contract exists. Do you see President Guaido sign it? Because he was the witness. He had to say yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And in the event that President Guaido did sign that contract, then the Venezuelan authority have to take measure, have to detain President Guaido and ask him why he signed that contract.
Of course.
But President Guaido right now, he say he didn't sign anything. So that's a big question right now. Now, if they don't do anything about it, if the regime, the communist regime in Venezuela doesn't do anything about it, well, people have to ask why. You say, well, if President Guaido signed that contract to capture Maduro in order to collect the $15 million, then President Guaido will be in great trouble. But if they don't do anything about it, then why? Why they don't do anything about it? Because there's a lot of people who think, and I'm talking about analysts, political and military analysts, there's a lot of people who think that this is all made by Maduro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is and about a month ago, Diosdado Cabello, in his program, TV program, he explained the whole operation with everybody, with the pictures of everybody, the names of everybody, and yet they went through with the operation. Why? Now, there's another question about that. Maybe the mercenary, the soldier of fortune, they needed to do some operation, even if it was going to fail, like it did, in order to collect the $1.5 million for the that it says in the contract. Now, the head of that contract, the Canadian American mercenary, he says that he's going to sue the Venezuelan President Guaido because he did what he was supposed to do. And he sent a bunch of, I don't know, fools, some boys or someone that didn't have any idea of what's going on. Some of them were killed, some of them were captured, like General Maduel's son, that he was captured and tortured.
Okay, we're going to a break, okay? We're coming back, honey.
Mm-hmm.
In 2009, the membership organization Docs for Patient Care was founded. People all around the country wanted to participate in the efforts of this group, and they wanted to join, but they were unable to do so unless they were physicians. It's for this reason that the Docs for Patient Care Foundation was created. Now, everyone can join the fight and become a member of an organization created by doctors for patients, dedicated to fighting for your healthcare freedom and preserving the doctor-patient relationship. While you're at your computer, please go to www.docs4patientcarefoundation.org. That's www.docs4patientcarefoundation.org and make a tax-deductible donation and join the fight along with us. Thank you.
If your health insurance premium is more than your mortgage, Ellen Deal with Ideal Solutions is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner, individual, family, or baby boomer, email MAGA45CAG@gmail.com and I'll respond with 3 easy questions to help you determine if you can get away from Obamacare. As a 20-year veteran of the insurance industry, I'm here to help with all your insurance needs. Email Ellen Deal at MAGA45CAG@gmail.com.
This is Dr. Susan Blank, host of Detailing Addiction on America's Web Radio. Please join us at 4 p.m. on Tuesday afternoons.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And this is Let's Talk Venezuelan.
Okay,
Robert.
Now this mercenary, the head mercenary, who is a Canadian American, who had fought in many wars for the United States as the Green Beret. He said that nobody paid him a cent, that President Guaido didn't honor the contract. Yet, he went through it. Now, who paid for that?
Okay.
Who financed that? Now, in our investigation, we found out a name that is very important, especially for the American people. George Soros. Now, George Soros financed the actual president of Colombia, Ivan Duque. And there's a lot of information in the internet. In fact, Ivan Duque has promoted the open society that George Soros is promoting worldwide. And I have a page in my in the internet, which unfortunately for your English audience is in Spanish. But you can check it out, robertalonsopresenta.com.
Okay.
robertalonsopresenta.com. And you go into the all the content of Robert Alonso. The first thing that you find out you hit, it will be Operation Gedeon. And you will see everything that has gone on from day one to today. And so, but it's in Spanish, of course. Maybe it can be translated.
This has sense because the lawyer that signed the contract is in opposition of President Trump's, and it's a common thing with Mr. George Soros. So what you say has a lot of makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Okay, that page right now.
I'm
checking it. I'm checking it now. That page right now has over 2 million hits. 2 million hits.
Okay.
A lot of people who are checking it out. No. Exactly. I will tell you. It's open. It takes a while to open because there's a lot of information involved in there. But right now, as I can tell you, let me see. I'm going down. They have 2,158,790 hits.
Wow.
And it's a lot of hits. No? Okay. So what George Soros have to do with this? Who financed this mercenary? If he claimed that they didn't pay 1 cent for it. Now JJ said that he paid $50,000 out of his own pocket, and the mercenary said that yes, he got that money. So if JJ paid him $50,000, that means that the contract was a lie.
Of
and
course.
he have to honor this mercenary with $1,500,000. Now, in Cuba, because I'm Cuba, there was what we call the industry of the counter-revolution. It's an industry. It's a business, a great business. And there's some Cuban people, who said that they were forming an army to overthrow Castro, and they needed money, and a lot of people gave them money to a lot of people who were doing this. And so they say to the people who gave them money, okay, on the 23rd of May, we're going to send a group of soldiers through Guanabacoa, which is a place in Cuba. And the Castro regime were waiting for them, just like happened the other day in Venezuela. They were waiting for them. They killed them or they shoot them in the fire squad. And then they go and tell the people, well, we failed, but we didn't have enough funding, enough financing, and we need some more money for the next operation. And these were going on and on and on for decades, for over 20 years.
Taking money.
And that's what we call the counter-revolutionary industry.
Industry, yeah. The business,
okay.
Yes.
It could be that we are in front of a new Venezuelan counter-revolution industry here. Okay? Now we have a person called Pablo Medina, who you can see in the page that I published, that he was asking, he said, we don't need too much money. We don't need too much money. We only need $400,000. $400,000. That's the only thing that we need. And we are preparing an army to free Venezuela from the communists.
Yeah, it looks like they're repeating the same strategy that they did in Cuba, in Venezuela, and in Nicaragua. It's always repeating the same strategy with different faces, different people.
It could be. It's too early right now to give you exactly what happened, but there's too many things involved around it. Too many things involved around it. Now, one of the right hand, maybe the left hand of El Pollo Carvajal,
Okay.
which is a narco general claimed by the American justice, who nobody knows where he is. He escaped from Spain. He was involved in the operation. In fact, he went to Venezuela in one of the two invasion, let's call it that way, and he was caught in Venezuela. Nobody knows where he is. He was not killed, but he was the right hand of El Pollo Carvajal, and he was informing directly to Diosdado Cabello, who is the number 2 in the Venezuelan regime, if not the number 1. Okay, because Maduro, like we say, if he falls down, he will eat grass. He doesn't have a mind.
Oh my!
Right. So maybe the number 1 in Venezuela has been Diosdado Cabello. So there's a lot of things that we are investigating about it. Now, who hired this Cuban American lawyer whose phone number I just gave you? Who hired that? There are people saying that it was J.J. Rendon who hired that lawyer in order to become a witness of the process. Now, J.J. Rendon has a connection with a Colombian narco lawyer, very, very popular in Colombia, who he has connection with this type of people. Okay, so we have to look into it. Like I say, it's too early right now to give you exactly what happened. But the people who are involved here, they're not good people, they say.
Oh my!
Starting with General Cleaver Alcalá Cordone, who recently was taken, was deported from Colombia to the United States, and he's right now awaiting a trial. We don't know what he's saying. Nobody knows what he's saying. And he claimed that that he managed the operation. He claimed that he's the head of the operation.
Oh.
And he claimed that that the President Guaidó signed a contract. And now we are beginning to find out that the contract really existed, because J.J. Rendon last night in CNN accepted that he signed the document.
Oh my! This sounds more like a novel of 007 than something like politics, my friend.
You can make a movie out of it. You can make a movie out of it.
Yeah, a series.
A series like a Netflix,
like
Netflix
the Marvels.
series,
No, like the Marvels.
The Marvels.
You have to contact Netflix. Netflix will be very happy to get all this. Maybe I send the script to Netflix, because I have connection with them and I have connection with Hollywood because
yes.
my sister is
maybe Maria Conchita can help us on that.
Yeah, she can help. Find out.
No kidding.
Executive. A director and all that. It would be very nice to do it,
Yes.
And well, in fact, this mercenary, this Canadian American mercenary, said, "Hello."
Yes,
hello.
I'm here.
Yeah. No, I'm receiving a phone call. Okay. But this American Canadian mercenary have claimed that the troop that he was training, they didn't have enough to eat, and they were sleeping in a cemetery.
Oh my!
So how are you going to overthrow the Castro regime in Venezuela, because it's the Castro regime in Venezuela,
without logistics?
How are you going to overthrow them with people who are hungry?
Yes, without logistics.
Who are sleeping in the cemetery?
No, that's something.
It doesn't make no sense.
It's fishy.
It doesn't make sense. Anything here makes sense. So we have to look into it. Now we have, we have the element to start investigating, deeper. But right now, I can tell you, nobody has. Only few people knows inside of the operation what really happened. But outside the operation, we, the outsider, we have no any clue to be able to tell the media what really happened. The only thing that we can do is to say, well, this doesn't make sense here, this doesn't make sense here, and this is very screwy. So we have to go further into it. Mm-hmm. So, but we have to warn the American people, because Venezuela is a danger to the American society for many. In Venezuela, the Hezbollah, they own the whole island, the island of Margarita, which used to be the number one tourist place in Venezuela. They own Margarita, Hezbollah. And there are people from Iran that are taking all the uranium from Venezuela to make an atomic bomb. And there, China owns a lot of the Venezuelan country. You have the Russian. You have everybody there.
We have a mess over there.
And you have the American people have to to be careful about that, and they have to make pressure on Congress, on the United Congress, on the White House. They say, listen, it's only 1,200 kilometers away. They can send a plane from Venezuela, and in an hour and a half. They can bomb the United States.
That's true.
Okay.
We're going to a break, Robert.
All right.
Thank you.
The disease of addiction is a life-altering challenge, not just for the person suffering its effects, but also for the family and friends who support and love the one caught in its grasp. What should be the course of treatment? Who is the best person to render treatment? And what is the best place to go for the care that is needed? We know that you want answers to these and many more questions. Call 770-696-9862 and speak to a representative of the Atlanta Healing Center. They can tailor a program specifically designed to address the needs of the person suffering with an addiction, or give you guidance as to where that help may be found. Information is the key, and the trained staff at AHC is here to assist. If you wish, you can also get more information on the website located at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
This is Daryl Pullis inviting you to listen to America's Homegrown Veggie Show right here every Saturday morning at 10 Eastern Time. Great guests, great tips, and valuable information about growing your own vegetables, fruits, and herbs.
Get your pen and paper ready. If there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And we're with Robert Alonso. Robert is the best analyst of the Venezuelan situation that I ever know. Never, ever. He never make a mistake about the kind of the Venezuelan situation. About 7 years ago, you taught us how to make conclusions based on incomplete information about possible scenarios on a situation. And now you have the crystal ball, and tell us, what do you think about all of this?
So what is your conclusion, Robert, about this?
The conclusion is that the whole operation was infiltrated by the government, by the regime, by the Venezuelan regime. Now, a year ago, over 100 Venezuelan soldiers, including officers, they defected to Colombia.
Yes.
Now, I bet my life that among those 100 soldiers and officers, the Castro regime in Venezuela sent some of them of their agents, because in Venezuela, the intelligence department of Castro operates. They call them the G2, and they were trained in the West, in the East Germany Stasi, and the Soviet Union KGB. They know what they're doing. So they are infiltrating everything. They infiltrate even the church. They infiltrate everybody, like they did in Cuba. So what can we think about this? We think that this operation was all infiltrated by the government of Venezuela. In fact, a month ago, like I said before, Diosdado Cabello went on television and explained the whole operation. So this is crazy.
It's crazy.
This is very crazy.
Yes.
So what we have to do is warn the American people about it. We have to warn the of the danger of the American people. Now, like for example, in the United States, every 4 years or 8 years, they change the whole political situation. They change president. In Russia, in China, in Cuba, they don't do that. So they keep on with the same strategies for many years. So we are in disadvantage with the enemy. The enemy knows what to do. We don't. By the time we learn what's going on, the new president comes in. And they change the whole situation.
Yeah, exactly. So like Obama, you know, the 8 years of Obama, he overlooked Venezuela. He didn't care. He stopped any intelligence on the Hezbollah, on the all those Islamic groups that are, like you explained earlier, they took over the island of Margarita. You know, he overlooked all that. So
and he was informed about it.
Yeah, he was, but he did not.
I can tell you he was informed about it.
Yeah, but his purpose in America was to, like a lot of his friends say, to make America more Islamist. So, making America more Islamist is not only United States. He allows that in the Latino area too, Venezuela, Paraguay.
He financed the Islamic movement. He financed the Wuhan laboratory now. So we are paying now for the 8 years that Obama was in government.
It's disaster. Yeah, we are paying the consequences. It's being a disaster.
We're paying the consequences.
Yeah, we are paying the disaster in the intelligent way, in the the intelligent being the health. We are paying with the health too. We are paying with immigration. All this caravan, all this.
And we're paying with our liberties.
Yeah, our liberties are being infringed.
And let me tell you something, because I was part of the intelligence department in the United States for many years. What the CIA does and investigate, the DEA doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, the DEA is by themselves, the CIA is by themselves, the FBI is by themselves, and they don't communicate between these departments. That's a great mistake. That's a great mistake. The immigration agents, they don't communicate with the DEA. They don't communicate with the CIA. They don't communicate with the FBI.
When they created the Homeland Security, they're supposed to be exchanging information, and they are not doing it. But Mr. Barack Obama stopped all that. He stopped all that. So it's like we have to rebuild that back again if we want to take leadership. David, do you have any question, David?
No, we have as you know, we have a special agent in charge that was with Homeland Security, and
and then we have another big problem here, which they call the deep state, which to me, the deep state is the one who places president in the White House. By the way, the White House, among all the powers in the United States, the White House is the one who has the less power. They are, like I say, the White House is the Department of non-important business. That's what I call the White House.
Wow.
And the president doesn't have the power to do anything.
A lot of things, yeah.
Yeah.
David, I think
what the president of the United States says is because they told him to say it. I am sure about that.
Robert, I think David have a question that he wants to ask you. 1 second, okay?
Not really. I just I don't know that I totally agree with you, sir. We have a lot of folks that have been involved, and everybody has their own opinion, and we're very fortunate to have someone that has been there recently, and I respect what he says and what he's done in the past, and everybody. We have problems, and certainly the FBI. In fact, we're doing our own investigation of the FBI and how they railroaded General Flynn.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
But
you say something that is very important. You say something that is very, very, very important. Everybody has their own opinion. Now, when you have a democratic, I'm not saying that I would like to have a dictatorship, no, but when you have a democracy, you have to let everybody say their own opinion. And when everybody says their own opinion, it's a mess. It's a mess. Because you don't know who's saying the truth or the real truth. Or maybe they say half of the truth. Now, in this communist country, nobody can say their own opinion. The opinion comes from one person. From one person, and that's it. So that is disadvantage of the democratic system.
Well,
everybody writes everything and tells you everything, and then they give them a different opinion of what we have to do, and at the end there's so many opinions that the general public, don't know what to do.
Well, we are a democracy, but we're a republic, and when you get right down to it, if you go back in and study the Constitution and our founding fathers and the time that the Constitution was written, we're really we were intended to be a democratic dictatorship. And what I mean by that was before we had all the media and all the rest, and the media, by the way, should be our watchdogs over all the federal agencies, but they've been bought off by the Democrats like everybody else has been bought off by the Democrats. Yeah. And they're not doing their job, which is to watch everything in government, be it the FBI, be it the Supreme Court, be it any of the three main branches. But we were formed as a democratic dictatorship. You would elect people to go and represent you, and they would be sent up to this foreign land called Washington, D.C. They would make our laws or whatever they did, and hopefully they worked harder than the ones we got now. But anyway, they would come up with laws, they would come up with policy, and then they'd go back to their constituents in Oklahoma or Texas or wherever they happened to be, and they would dictate what the government was going to do. They didn't go to the individual and say, what do you want us to do? There was no communication. They went up to Washington, they made the laws, they came back and said, this is the way it's going to be.
That's right.
Absolutely.
But it's not.
It's not. No, it's not today because, I don't think.
Well, you have, for example, an executive order from the President of the United States, and any judge can know that executive order.
Federal judge.
So, a federal judge. Any federal judge can do it. So imagine, if you have that now. In the communist country, they don't do that. They don't even have judges over there.
They cut your head off.
So this is the way it is, and this is the way it is, and that's it. And nobody will dare to say something different.
Thank you very much,
Robert. We're gonna be going to the second hour, which is in Spanish. You, Carlos, and me, we're gonna have
a blast
in Spanish. So thank you so much for being here today in English. So hold in there for us, please. We're going in a break and we're coming back in Spanish.
David, do you have any final word about this situation?
Thank you for coming on, and hopefully we'll have you back and be able to have you back on and keeping abreast. It's where our quote unquote fake news lets us down. We hope to tell the public, and we try always to tell the public the truth, be it from a medical standpoint or anything else. So we look forward to having you back, and take care of yourself and be safe in Venezuela or wherever.
All right.
You might
thank you very much. I'm going to be. I'll be safe.
Okay. Stand by for the second part of the program that this is in Spanish. Okay. Thank you, Robert.
Okay. I wait on the line.
Thank you.